Hello, geeks, freaks, and all those unique. This is EmceeFrodis. Carry on, wayward fans. There'll be one before we're done. We're reviewing episode 19 of Supernatural season 15, Inherit the Earth. Well, that was, I couldn't even keep up the energy that I had at doing the intro of this episode, because that's just the kind of episode this was. Yeah. We've defeated Chuck. The battle's done and we kind of won, so we sound our victory cheer. It's from a show that had a much more satisfying ending to it. So what we know is that this is the season finale, and the next episode is going to be the series finale, so kind of like the epilogue of the show. And at the end, I'll do some speculation as to what I think that's going to be. But, so this was the end of the Chuck arc, and I mean, there was a lot of stuff that I guessed, but the way they did it, oh, geez, I keep on saying this for all of the stuff that I'm into. Maybe I need to stop guessing things. So, just to start with, everything's bad. Everybody on Earth is gone. Cass has been killed right after telling Dean that he loved him. And so we start off with Dean arriving at where Jack and Sam are. And they kind of just wander around and going, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Dean ends up getting drunk because, his boyfriend's gone. And eventually Dean and Sam decide that they're going to, they're going to give themselves up to Chuck. And Chuck's like, no, thank you. I'm not interested in that anymore. Then Jack senses somebody else on Earth, and so they go to try to find who this is. There's a brief thing with a dog, which leads nowhere other than, Chuck pisses off Dean more, and then we find out that the one person who is left alive is Michael. Just Michael. Adam was taken out by the Thanos snap, so it's just Michael, and Michael's gonna help them defeat Chuck. But nobody knows what to do until Lucifer shows up, because the Empty let him out, and he has a Reaper that he's going to kill and turn into the new Death so that the new Reaper can read Death's book. But it turns out that it's all bullshit, and Lucifer is actually working for Chuck. He just wanted to get his book. And Michael's mad that Chuck went to Lucifer, and I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted. Just like all of these things that you're throwing out at the last minute that also don't really mean anything. Like, oh, Lucifer's back. Like, this would have meant something if he was in more than just like one scene, and it wasn't just him and Jake Abel like throwing like fake lightning at each other because we've got a social distance, because this was done during the beginning of the pandemic. Jesus Christ. He didn't show up. Michael ends up killing Lucifer, and he ends up betraying the Winchesters to Chuck. And the Winchesters are going to be doing like some sort of spell to like kill God. But Chuck shows up and they stop the spell. But it turns out that it was all bullshit. Because actually Adam's thing is still in progress. And him killing all of the flowers is him absorbing all of this energy. And so he's basically, when Lucifer was killed and when and when Michael was killed, he had kind of absorbed all their energy. And then when Chuck starts beating up on Sam and Dean, he absorbs God energy. And so basically, long story short, not that short, but our boy Jack becomes the new God. Sure. Just, why not? Um, I kind of saw this coming. I have said in previous episodes that I thought that Jack might take over the Heavenly Host, and this is kind of just a pumped up, roided out version of that. And I don't think I had mentioned it in an episode, but I had thought that Chuck might lose his powers. I knew they weren't going to kill God because there's no way the CW was going to let them kill God. And depowering him and leaving him as basically just the Chuck that we met in Monster at the end of this book it feels fitting. I wonder if he's going to start writing the Supernatural books again. I mean, like, that would make sense to me if he were to start writing the Supernatural books again and do, I think he stopped at season 5, was that right? And so yeah, to seasons 6 to 15, that would be something, for the in-universe. But yeah, so Jack is now God, and he is going... Amara's in there somewhere still, but what was with that bullshit? Like, it's like, yeah, Amara's in here, but we're at an accord, so she's gonna stay in there, and I'm like, that's super, super lazy to not bring somebody back. I know the reason why they're not bringing people back is because this was filmed, like, I mean, like, we're still in the heat of the COVID-19 pandemic. But, like, it feels like there was a lot of ways that they could have had just a little pickup shot of Emily Swallow. Just being like, yeah, hey, I'm here. Jack and I are going to work together now. Maybe restore some of those other dimensions that Chuck destroyed. Because we can do that now. Because it's super depressing to think about the fact that those worlds no longer exist. Like, let's do something about that. Yeah, so Jack got his God on, and now he's very godly, and he's gonna go off and just be God, I guess. I don't know what he's going to do. I mean, I'm happy for our boy. I like Jack a lot, and I think he actually fit very well with the show. The thing that bothered me about this episode is that it was hyped up so much, and then it was just kind of wah-wah. Like, I don't... Nothing happened. It was... Everything happened, but nothing happened. And Supernatural kind of has a... I don't know. I guess I shouldn't expect any more from them than they have done in past seasons. Because usually their, epic, apocalyptic endings kind of end up like this. Supernatural was good at doing cliffhangers. And that was kind of like the best thing that it had going for it with their endings. Swan Song, the only thing that really kept Swan Song from falling into that is that they did focus on the emotional rather than this big apocalyptic thing. Because actually, if you take out the brotherly aspects of Swan Song and you look at how the apocalyptic fight between Michael and Lucifer goes, there's really not all that much there. It's all down to the brotherly, emotional character growth, which I guess they're doing in the next episode, but by separating it from this one feels so limp and just not exciting. And you had a war with God, and you made a war with God seem boring. That's not cool. For the Destiel fans, for anybody who really wanted any sort of even acknowledgement about what Cass said, Dean got drunk. Dean was upset and he got drunk, but that's kind of a Thursday for Dean. I mean, I guess there is the thing where, like, Lucifer prank called Dean pretending to be Cass, and Dean just immediately, like, did not think that it was a trick at all, like, even though that's something that Chuck would totally do. Dean was immediately scrambling to the door, and that moment with Lucifer was kind of funny, and it was, I don't know about the Destiel of it all. Give me, like, I need the last episode. I need that last episode. I don't think it's going to get any better, but I really need to see how this last episode is going to play out before I make my final judgment. It's either going to be or you're fucking kidding me. Like, I'm at this point, there's no way that my reaction to canon Destiel is going to be good. I mean, I'm glad that it's canon because that is my ship. But yeah, no, you know, there's going to be an essay. There's going to be an essay with thought put into it after the series finishes. But right now, outlook not so good. It felt like Sam and Dean were really just bystanders in all of this, because you did have that middle bit with Archangel fighting where it's just like, no, this is happening and this is happening and this is happening, and they're just kind of standing there. And I know that in the end they were like, you know, we knew this the whole time and we were just, you know, planning to get all of your godly powers. And it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, seriously? Like, that's gonna be like the big dramatic ending where it's like, we were playing you the whole time. Like, that's not satisfying. The only bit I did like is that when Sam and Dean, like, linked arms and were standing up against Chuck together, because that's the way we want Sam and Dean to go out. And I did like also Chuck saying to Dean that, like, you know, do it. Like, you're the ultimate killer. And Dean's like, nope, that's not who I am. And that's entirely because of Cass. That was as close as I think we're going to get to an acknowledgement of Cass's proclamation. So, yeah. Inherit the Earth. Supernatural is done. Basically, at this point, we just have the one episode left. And I don't know what we're going to get from that. That will make me feel differently about the season. I might need to go back and watch the entire season in a binge, because I might feel differently about it seeing it all in one group. There are some things that are like that, and I think Supernatural is a show that actually really does suit the binging, because you get a better picture of the story. And certainly with the big break because of the pandemic, that did not help at all. It did lose some momentum in terms of the story. And I would like to go back and see how it all worked out. But just going off this, I'm just meh. I hate that at this point, I'm kind of like, yeah, just be over already. I am ready for this to be over, because having it not be over is actually more painful, because I'm sticking with it till the end. I've been with Supernatural for the last 9 years. Yeah. The last 9 years I've watched Supernatural. So, like, I'm finishing it out. There's one episode left. Let's do this thing. Let's just have it done. And I don't want to be this disappointed in it, because in some ways I don't know how disappointed I am in it. I'm still trying to figure it out. It's like, it's not good. No matter what, it's not good. But just how bad is it? It might just be a resounding meh. That happened. Basically, for the last episode, just leave it open enough that fanfic writers can pick up on it. Which, for all of the Destiel writers out there, just God bless you. You guys have certainly been working hard. I mean, I haven't actually read any myself, but I think the last time I heard about it, there was like 50 pages of fic just between the last episode and now, including one where I'm gonna have to find the link to it because I actually really want to read it. Where Dean is running Fantasy Island adult shop in Philadelphia, while Castiel is running Four Seasons Landscaping. I mean, I'm not an AU person. I'm really not. In particular, I'm not of the mundane AUs, but I will definitely read that one because, oh man, that's, I think the only way Supernatural fans were able to stay sane last week was by kind of giving in to their natural Tumblr instincts and just like going meme-tastic with the Destiel Putin election thing. It was pretty wild to see that all happen. But I think a lot of it was just needing to get stuff out. But yeah, we'll see how I feel about the next episode. Part of me thinks that it might actually be over a much longer period of time than we think. I'm wondering if they're gonna do, like, we'll see the rest of Dean and Sam's lives as hunters and maybe retiring. I think Eileen might, if she doesn't actually appear, I think we'll at least get reference to her and Sam getting married. I kind of think that's the end game, Sam and Eileen. And I think, like, Sam and Dean, we're going to see them just through the years continuing to hunt. Maybe eventually Sam retires and kind of Dean is always going to stick with the hunting. And maybe if they love me just a little tiny bit, the hunting is going to be specifically so kind of in the back of Dean's head. Like, Sam will say something about it. It's like, you're doing this so that you can get him back. And then kind of maybe at the very end, we'll have Sam and Dean go to heaven, which we'll find out has been, vastly improved by Jack. And one of the things that improved there is that Castiel is there waiting for Dean. I don't really want that to happen, but I could see them doing that. It's like, if I were writing this show and I were trying to piss me off, that's exactly what I would do. So, tell me what you thought of Inherit the Earth. Tell me what you think is going to happen in Carry On. Comment down below with your thoughts. If you like my videos, subscribe to my channel. I'll be doing some more Supernatural videos, not just reviews, but I'm going to be doing some breakdowns of just the show in general. And I also do Star Trek and Star Wars and many other things. Share this across social media. If you want to support me, go to my Patreon. You can also, if you want something to wear, go to my TeePublic and Redbubble. Today I am wearing my Bisexual Supernatural Pride shirt, but I don't have one yet, but I do have a couple of Destiel shirts, and I'll be doing more Supernatural shirts, but right now, lots of Destiel stuff, so check that stuff out. So, until next time, the last time, live long, and may the Force be with you. Thanks to these patrons for keeping the lights on around here. I very much appreciate all of the help from you guys. So if you want to keep watching more of my videos, click on my cartoon face over there and you can go directly to my channel and check things out.